Okay, so let's continue with yesterday's topic, that is classification of computers. So yesterday we already discussed some concepts like characteristics of computers, generations of computers, okay, and next characteristics, classification of computers. That means the computers are classified into different types based on input and size. Okay, so computers are classified mainly into three types. So that is analog, digital, hybrid. Okay students, what is analog computer? What is analog computer? What is analog computer? Why it is called as analog computer? What is analog computer? See, analog computer accepts the input as physical quantities such as temperature, length, pressure, etc. The best examples are speedometer, thermometer, okay, voltmeter, electric meter, etc. So what is digital computer? What is digital computer? So digital computer accepts numerical values. So that means it accepts the data in binary form, that is zeros and ones. That means the internal processing can be done by using binary form, that is ones and zeros. See, most of the computers are digital computers. So digital computers are used in both scientific and business applications. Okay, so next one, hybrid computers. Hybrid computers means it has both the features of analog and digital computers. That means the device which has both the features of analog and digital are called as hybrid computers. So this is one of the example of hybrid computer. See, hybrid computers are used in flight management, ICUs, and in many industries, etc. And the best example is, so this device which are widely used in hospitals. So what is the purpose of this device? First, it accepts, the hybrid computer accepts the input in analog signals and then convert them into digital data. So like this, see this example. So here this device is used to monitor patient's heartbeat and patient temperature. That means the input is in analog signals and then later it convert them into digital values. Okay students? So these are the different types of computers. And again, the digital computers, see, as I said that most of the computers are digital computers. So depend upon the size and type. So based upon the size and type, again digital computers are classified into four types. Four types. Those are supercomputers, mainframe computers, mini computers, and microcomputers. So first one is supercomputer. As supercomputer is the fastest and most expensive computer than all other computers. Supercomputers can calculate, see, most of the supercomputers can calculate trillions of instructions per second. The speed of the supercomputer is measured in flops. Flops. The speed of the supercomputer is measured in flops, floating point operations per second. So like teraflops, so gigaflops, etc. Because most of the supercomputers can calculate trillions of instructions per second. Supercomputers built by interconnecting thousands of processors that can work in parallel. So that's why those are fastest and most expensive than all other computers. So supercomputers are widely used in scientific research areas. That means supercomputers are mainly used that require the immense amounts of mathematical calculations. That means, so this type of scientific researches uses supercomputers. So supercomputers are used in scientific research areas like weather forecasting, climate research like global warming, and bio research, and nuclear energy research, etc. So these are fastest. Okay students, see these are the examples of supercomputers. See, observe this picture. So this is the example of supercomputer. So very big in size. See, based on the size and type, these are divided. Okay. So Cray 1, Cray 2, Param are some of the examples of supercomputers. These are the various names of supercomputers. So what is the next one? Mainframe computers. Mainframe computers are multi-user, multi-programming and high-performance computers. So what is multi-user? Come on students, what is multi-user? So do you know about a single user and multi-user? So what is single user and what is multi-user? Come on students, please respond. So post your answers. What is single user and what is multi-user? See, mainframes are multi-user, multi-programming and high-performance computers. See, the difference between single user and multi-user is single user. Single user is nothing but only one user can access the system at a time. Can access the system at a time. Whereas multi-user means multiple users can access the system at a time. It doesn't mean that two users use a single system. It means that if those are connected to the network, then that is possible for multi-user system. Okay. So what is multi-user? More than one user can access the same system at a time. So what is network? And that is possible with network. Network is a collection of computers, servers, mainframes or any other devices which are connected to one another that allows you to share the data. Am I right? For sharing purpose, we need to connect the systems to network. Like we have so many types of networks. Those are LAN, WAN, MAN. Okay. So do you know about types of networks? LAN, MAN and WAN. So what is LAN? So LAN is nothing but local area network. Local area network. So what about MAN? Come on students, do you know about MAN and WAN? Metropolitan area network. So WAN, wide area network. So these are the different types of networks. So LAN, local area network. So these are connected within a limited geographical area, that is within a building or within a limited area. So MAN, metropolitan area network. So these are connected, for example, telephone lines connected within the city. WAN, wide area network. So these are connected through worldwide. That means collection of LANs and MANs forms a WAN. The best example is internet. Because by using internet, so millions of people are connected together for communication. So that is the best example of network, that is internet. So best example of WAN is internet. So mainframes are used as servers. So servers are the main systems. So which provides the data to the connected systems called as clients. Okay. So mainframes are used as servers, and mainframes are widely used in banks or any companies which many people require the frequent access to the same data. Why? Because, so why we use networks? To access the same data. That means multiple users can access the same data at a time. So that is the purpose of network. So mainframes are used as servers, and these are also used in many large scale industries because they operate at very high speed. And mainframes have very large storage capacity, and mainframes can handle the workload of many users. So that's why it is a multi-user system. Okay. So what is the next one? So this is the picture of mainframe. See, this is smaller and cheaper than supercomputer, but it is larger and expensive than mini computer. Next, mini computer are mainly designed for multi-user systems because it supports 4 to 200 users simultaneously. So these are also used as servers on World Wide Web. Okay. So these are mainly used in small scale industries or small business, etc. So these are specially designed for single user systems. Sorry, multi-user system. These are not designed for a single user. So these are mainly designed for specific purpose. Next one, microcomputer. So it is a smallest type of computer when compared to all other types, because supercomputer is very big in size when compared to all other computers. Mainframe is big in size when compared to mini and micro. Mini is larger than microcomputers, and the last one is microcomputer, and it is the smallest type of computer. So microcomputers are mainly designed for single user systems, but these are also used as multi-user systems when they are connected to the network, and these are widely used in homes, institutes, offices, etc. Okay, but microprocessor is used as a main component in all the types of computers like super, mainframe, mini and micro. And some of the microcomputers are as desktop computers or microcomputers, laptop computers or microcomputers, notebook computers or microcomputers. See, our mobile phones, palm tops, handheld computers, all these are all comes under microcomputers, because microprocessor is used in laptops, palm tops and handheld computers. What is desktop? See, IBM first developed the desktop computer. Desktop computer is a stand-alone machine that can be placed on desk. Okay, so what about laptop? See, laptop is similar to desktop, but laptop is very compact and portable, and it is very easy to carry, and it has a built-in keyboard because laptop is integrated with keyboard and mouse, but desktop comes with the individual separate mouse and keyboard, because the main components of desktop is monitor, keyboard and mouse. So keyboard and mouse, that means touchpad, not a mouse. So in laptops, touchpads are used because touchpad has two buttons like mouse buttons. So touchpad is used to move or fix the cursor position on the system on laptops. So laptops are portable. When coming to palm top and handheld, these are hand-sized computers. Okay, so these are all types of microcomputers. So which are very small in size. So that's why these are called as microcomputers. Okay. So these are all types of computers. Okay students, what is software? So next topic is software and hardware, because computer is made up of software and hardware, because hardware alone cannot perform any operations internally. That means we need software to send the instructions to the hardware. But to install the software, we need some hardware components. Am I right? So that's why computer is made up of software and hardware. What is software? What is program? Program is a set of instructions. Then what is instruction? Instruction is a command which is given in computer acceptable language, because softwares are developed by using any one of the programming languages. So like C, C++, Java, Python, etc. So that means program is nothing but set of instructions. So what is instruction? In program, each and every line is called as instruction. So we have to follow the order of instructions to perform a particular task. So that's why software is a set of programs or data or instructions that are used to perform a well-defined task or a specific task. Okay, that means, so what is the use of Notepad software? Simply, Notepad is used to enter any type of text. Text is nothing but alphabets, symbols, numbers, etc. So, in the same way, MS Office. So, what is the purpose of MS Office? MS Office contains so many tools like Word, Excel, PowerPoint. So, which are used for presentation purpose and which are used to enter the data in table format like Excel, and which are used to prepare materials or letters or faxes, etc. in MS Word. That means each and every software is used to perform a specific task. So that is called as software. So we have two types of softwares, application software and system software. So what is software? Software is a set of programs, data or instructions which is designed to perform a well-defined function. So why we need softwares? Because without software, computer cannot do any useful work, because we can send the instructions to hardware by using software, but not all the softwares are used to send the instructions to hardware. So why? Because we have different types of softwares. Okay, can you tell me a few examples of softwares? Can you tell me a few examples of software, students? Here, operating system, MS Office, Google Chrome. So what is Google Chrome? What is Google Chrome? See, Google Chrome, Internet Explorer, Opera, Safari. So all these are called as browsers, because browser is a software. So we need browser to serve the internet. Am I right? Yes. So browser is a software, MS Office is a software, Photoshop is a software, C is a software, Java is a software. That means we need any one of the software to perform any type of task in a system. Am I right? But when coming to operating system, so what is operating system? So do you know about the operating system, students? Do you know about operating system? The short form of operating system is OS. So OS is nothing but operating system. So what is operating system? Do you know about the operating system, students? Operating system is the most important software that runs on computer. Am I right? So without operating system, simply a computer is useless or a mobile is useless. Why? Because operating system manages the computer's memory or any system's memory or any device memories and processes, as well as its software and hardware. That means it manages everything internally. So operating system is a system software, because system softwares are specially designed to perform operations internally. So the best example is operating system. So operating system usually comes preloaded on any computer you buy. Am I right? Yes. So if you want to buy any system or mobile or laptop, then operating system usually comes preloaded. That is, so many types of operating systems are available. Okay, so operating system is the most important software that runs on computer. So the formal definition of operating system is OS is an interface between user and computer hardware. So what is OS, students? OS is an interface between, that means it acts as an intermediator between user application and hardware, because we can't directly communicate with the hardware. Am I right? And simply just, so we are opening many types of windows like MS Word, Excel, PowerPoint, etc. So many tasks are executed. Simply my work is to enter the data on MS Word. Then how can the data is processed and how can the data is stored in RAM? And how it is possible? So without the user intervention, operating system manages all these type of things. Am I right? So operating system manages everything. That means it manages and coordinates all the input and output devices. And it manages the computer's memory, whether it is temporary or permanent. And it manages everything, that is hardware components can perform its operations by receiving the instructions from the operating system. That is the advantage of OS. That's why it is an interface between OS is an interface between user, applications and hardware. Okay, so most people use operating systems that comes with the computers, but it is possible to upgrade or even change the operating systems because so many versions are available now. So what are the different types of operating systems? So mainly the three most common operating systems used in personal computers. So PC is nothing but personal computers. Or first one, Microsoft Windows. Microsoft Windows, and it has many versions like Windows Vista, okay, Windows XP, so next one Windows 7, so Windows 8, Windows 10. So the latest version is Windows 10. So many versions are available. Okay. So these are all the Windows operating system versions. So who developed Windows? Microsoft is one of the topmost MNC companies. So Microsoft developed Windows. That's why this is called as MS Windows or Microsoft Windows. What is the next operating system? What is the next operating system? Apple's Mac OS. Apple's. See, all the Apple products uses some special operating system, that is Macintosh OS. And another one is Linux. So these three are the most common operating systems used on our personal computers. Okay, when coming to mobiles, see, personal computers, laptops and notebooks. So these are same. So these operating systems are used in laptops, desktops or notebooks. But when coming to mobiles, phones and tablets are different from laptops and desktops. Am I right? So different types of operating systems are used in mobiles. So can you tell me a few examples of mobile operating systems? Mobile operating systems. Android. Yes. So most of the mobile uses Android operating system. Am I right? So what is the latest version of Android? What is the latest version of Android? Android 11. And Oxygen OS in Android 11 is used in many smartphones like OnePlus. Am I right? And next one is iOS. So what is iOS? What is iOS? iOS is used in all types of mobiles. iOS, very good. Yes, BlackBerry OS. Next, iOS, iPhone operating system. So iOS is specially designed for Apple's products. So that means in Apple phones, iOS operating system is used. So these are some of the operating systems which are used in mobiles. Why? Because see, mobile operating system, that means mobiles or phones and tablets are different from desktops, laptops and notebooks. So that's why they specially designed different types of operating systems depend upon the device. Okay, students? So this is about operating system. So without operating system, we can't run even a single application. So operating system is called as system software. So why? Because This is mainly designed to perform the operations internally. It manages and coordinates so all the activities of the system. So like memory, input and output devices, that is I/O management. So the specific types of operating functions of operating system is I/O management, disk management, memory management, CPU management, etc. Okay, so all types of activities can be done by using operating system. Okay, what is hardware? Simply the physical components which we are used to send the instructions to hardware is called as, which we are used to send the instructions to the system, and that is called as hardware. So physical components of a system are called as hardware, and these are also called as peripheral devices. And we have so many types of hardware components available for the system, that is internal hardware devices and external hardware devices. So these are the external hardware devices like monitor, system unit which is called as CPU, speakers, printer, okay, scanners, keyboard, mouse, etc. So these are all called as external hardware devices. So what are the internal hardware devices? Come on students, what are the internal hardware devices? So these are all the external hardware devices. So what about internal hardware devices? iOS full form. See, someone asked about iOS full form. iPhone operating system. iPhone. So this is specially designed for iPhones. Okay. So what about internal hardware devices? Come on students. Internal hardware devices. So can you tell me a few examples of internal hardware devices? So in the previous class we already discussed main components, that is motherboard. As this is one of the internal hardware device, and motherboard is the main component and which connects all other parts. So this is motherboard. And next one is hard disk drive, because hard disk is located inside the CPU. So that's why it is called as internal hardware device. That means it is located or it is placed outside the motherboard and inside the CPU that connects to motherboard. Okay. So this is hard disk which is used for permanent storage. Am I right? Because RAM is the temporary memory, whereas hard disk is the secondary storage device which is called as permanent storage device. Because primary memory devices are volatile in nature, whereas secondary storage devices are non-volatile in nature. That means the data which is stored in secondary storage devices are permanent, but hard disk is the main component in desktops, laptops and notebooks, etc. Okay, not in mobiles. Okay, in mobiles ROM is used as permanent storage area, ROM, not hard disk. Okay, so this is RAM, this is RAM chip and this is ROM chip. So what is the purpose of RAM and ROM? Random access memory and read-only memory. So which is temporary and which is permanent, students? Which is temporary and which is permanent? So RAM is temporary and ROM is permanent. Okay, these are RAM and ROM chips, and this is the main component, that is microprocessor chip. Okay, microprocessor chip. Okay, so next, floppy disk. See, in the previous days we use floppy disk for permanent storage. That means floppy disk is used to move data from one system to another system like pen drives. But the drawback is it has less storage capacity. That means up to 1.4 MB or 1.44 MB. So that is the drawback of floppy disk. So this is the picture of floppy disk. Okay. Next, our next topic is computer memory and processors. So we already discussed some types of memories. So what types of memories? RAM, ROM, that means primary, secondary. Am I right? But so in this topic we discussed, see how many types of memories are available in a computer or in a system. So what is the hierarchical order of memories? So what is memory? See, as we all know that memory is nothing but storage. The storage is used to store the data and programs either temporarily or permanently. Am I right? Okay. So look at this diagram, okay? So observe this diagram, students. So this is the hierarchy of memories. So first one is CPU registers, okay? CPU registers. Next one, cache memory. There are three types of cache memories are available in system, that is L1 cache, L2 cache and L3 cache, that is level 1, level 2 and level 3 cache. Next one is primary memory. Next one is hard disk, optical disk, magnetic tapes. That means this memory hierarchy represents the smallest to largest memories available for computers. See, these are all from CPU registers to primary memory. See, observe these points. See, these are more expensive, and the main advantage is less access time. That means the access time is reduced, smaller in size. So these are all smaller in size. See, RAM chip, ROM chip, cache memory circuit. So like this, and less capacity. So why? Because this hierarchy represents smallest to largest. So these are all having the less capacity and stores the data till the power is on. That means it stores the data till the power is on. That means it is used to store. These are used to store the data temporarily. So until the power is supplied to all these chips or all these circuits. Okay. When coming to the next, so primary, after primary memory, hard disk, optical disk, magnetic disk. So these are used to store large amount of data. So these are less expensive. See, these are more expensive. As secondary storage devices are cheaper than primary memory devices. So less expensive and more access time because storage capacity is high. And next one, bigger in size, as these are bigger in size when compared to cache memory, CPU registers, RAM and ROM, etc. Okay. And next, more capacity and stores the data even when the power is on. So that means hard disk, optical disks, magnetic tapes are used to store the data permanently. So whereas registers, cache memory and primary memory devices are used to store the data temporarily. So this is the memory hierarchy which are available for computers. Process registers, processor registers. So what is register? So register is one type of memory. So these are faster and it has less storage capacity among all types of computer data storage. So this is the smallest one. So it stores a word of data that is either 16-bit or 32-bit or 64-bit registers available in CPU to perform some calculations or some ALU instructions, etc. So registers are mainly used as CPU instructions instruct the ALU to perform operations on this data. That means this type of data is stored in registers. It has less storage capacity among all other types of memories, and this is very fastest memory when compared to all other types. Cache memory, which is very important. Cache memory is the fastest memory and it is classed as RAM, but it is connected in between the RAM and the register. That means microprocessors access the data than the regular RAM for faster response. Simply cache memory is used to store the frequently used data or instructions. That means it reduces the access time. Okay, cache memory is used to store the frequently used data and instructions, and it is connected in between the RAM and register, and which is nearer to microprocessor. So there are three levels of cache memories are available in CPU: L1 cache and L2 cache and L3 cache. This is called as cache memory. which is faster and smaller than RAM, and it is also called as temporary memory. Okay. So next one, primary memory, S. So as we all know that primary memory is a temporary memory, and there are two kinds of primary memories are available, RAM and ROM, random access memory, read-only memory. But again, RAM has two types. See? So what is random access? Random access, that means this memory is called as random access because any memory cell can be directly addressed. So that is nothing but random access. So again, RAM has two types, static random access memory, dynamic random access memory. So these two types of RAM are available in CPU. So what is the difference between SRAM and DRAM? Static random access memory is called as SRAM. Dynamic random access memory is called as DRAM. See, SRAM is faster than DRAM. So why? Because no need for external refresh process to be carried out. That means, see, automatically it refreshes its data. So that's why this point is nothing but no need for external refresh, because RAM is a temporary, that means it refreshes its data automatically after the completion of execution or after the completion of processing. Am I right? Yes. SRAM is faster and reliable than DRAM, and it occupies more space and is more expensive than DRAM. So what about DRAM? DRAM is slower than SRAM. Why? Because a refresh process is required to maintain, that means the capacitors are used to maintain the charge. Okay, that means an internal refresh process is required to refresh the data in DRAM. Both SRAM and DRAM are temporary memories, and it comes under RAM, random access memory. Next one is ROM. What is read-only memory? Random access memory. As Linux is a operating system. Okay. Random read-only memory. So read-only memory. So what is read-only memory? ROM is non-volatile memory. Why it is called as non-volatile memory? Come on, students. Why ROM is called as non-volatile memory? Okay. Yes, this is a non-volatile memory because once the data is stored in ROM, that cannot be erased, but the data will be erased by using the one type or any one type of ROM, because ROM has three types. These are the different types of ROM. First one is PROM, programmable read-only memory. Next one is EPROM, erasable programmable read-only memory. Next one is EEPROM, electrically erasable programmable read-only memory. So these are the different types of ROM. PROM, programmable read-only memory. So once it is programmed, the data will not be erased. So by using a PROM programmer, the chip can be programmed. See, this can be returned or programmed. Writing is nothing but storing the data. In computers, writing is nothing but storing the data. So return to or program using a special device called PROM programmer, which uses high voltages to permanently write data in it. If you want to erase the data in ROM, because ROM is non-volatile, that means once it is programmed, the data will not be erased. If you want to erase the data in ROM, then any one of these types are used to erase the data. So why? Because first one is erasable. Erasable programmable read-only memory. That means it can be erased and reprogrammed. That means we can reprogram in ROM by erasing the existing data. So how can we erase the data by using this type? That is, if it is erased and reprogrammed by exposing the chip to strong ultraviolet rays, that is UV light, and then rewriting at a higher voltage. That means if the ROM chip is exposed to some ultraviolet light, UV light, then the entire data will automatically erased. Then we can reprogram the ROM chip again. Last one, electrically erasable programmable read-only memory. It is also used to erase the data, but by using some electrical pulses or electrical voltages. So it allows contents to be electrically erased and then rewritten. So these two types are used to erase the data which is stored in ROM, because the data in ROM will not be directly erased. So by using any one of these types, we can easily erase the data in ROM. Okay students, do you understand? So these are the three types. Okay. So what about secondary storage devices? See, registers, cache memory. So register is very fastest memory, and next one is cache memory, and next one is RAM and ROM, and next secondary storage devices. As secondary storage devices are non-volatile in nature, that is permanent. These are also called as external memory or auxiliary memory. Am I right? Yes. So not directly accessible by the CPU, because registers, cache memory, RAM and ROM are directly accessed by the microprocessor. But secondary storage devices are not directly accessible by the CPU. And the main advantage is it holds the data after the power is switched off. When the power is turned off, the data will be automatically erased, that is stored in RAM, or that is stored in cache memory, or that is stored in registers. But when coming to secondary storage devices, the data is permanent. Okay. So what are the different secondary storages are available? Magnetic tapes. As magnetic tapes is one of the mass storage device. Mass storage devices are nothing but the devices which stores large amount of data. That means magnetic tapes are used to store the large amount of data. Okay. So what about used as sequential access secondary? So there are two types of accessing in secondary storage devices: sequential access and direct access. Sequential access and direct access. See, if the device is a sequential access storage device, then the reading and writing, that means data storing and accessing, will be done in a sequential order, that is in a serial order. Okay. What about direct access? Direct access, if the device is a direct access secondary storage devices, it will randomly pick the required data and it will directly store the data where the memory is available. So that is the difference between sequential access and direct access. It follows sequential order and it follows random order. Direct access follows random order, whereas sequential access follows serial order. See here, magnetic tapes, punched cards, punched paper tapes, these are all the secondary storage devices which follows sequential access. So that's why magnetic tape is a sequential access secondary storage device. Okay. So next, floppy disks. Okay. So we already discussed the floppy disk. So floppy disk is a secondary storage device which is used to store the data permanently, and it is also used to move the data from one system to another system like pen drives. So hard disk, as this is the main component in a system which stores the data permanently. Am I right? Again, disk. So disk is a collection of sectors and tracks. So data in a disk is stored on the surface of platter in sectors and tracks. See, all the disks follows direct access mechanism. That means floppy disk is a direct access secondary storage device. CD is a direct access secondary storage device. DVD is a direct access secondary storage device because it is a collection of tracks and sectors. Optical drives. So these are also called as optical discs like CDs, DVDs. So these are all used light technology to read and write the data. That's why these are called as optical drives or optical discs. So many types of CDs and DVDs are available. CD-ROM, DVD-ROM, that is the data is permanent. CD recordable and CD rewritable, CD-RW. This is nothing but RW. Rewritable, that means, see, once the data is stored in CD, then that cannot be erased. If you want to erase the data and reprogram like EEPROM, like ROM, then we use CD-RW, CD rewritable. Rewritable means we can easily erase the data which is stored in CD. Or DVD-RW. DVD-RW. So these are all optical drives or optical discs. What about USB flash drives? USB stands for, what is USB? Yes, hard disk and HDD are same because someone asked about his hard disk and HDD are same. Yes, HDD is nothing but hard disk drive. So which we call it as hard disk, like optical drive or optical disk. Okay. So what is USB? Do you know about USB, students? USB. USB. See, our pen drives are connected to the USB port. Memory cards are connected to the USB port, which is common for all flash drives. Why these are called as, see, pen drive is a USB flash drive device. Memory card is a USB flash drive device because flash memory is used inside the pen drive or memory card. Flash memory is one type of memory which is automatically erased. That means automatically means, say in the CD we need a special software to erase the data or to write the data. But in pen drives we can automatically erase the data and we can automatically store the data. So whenever or whatever required. So that is USB flash drive, flash memory. USB means Universal Serial Bus. So what is USB? USB stands for Universal Serial Bus. So pen drives, that means simply why these are called as USB flash drives. These are removable, rewritable and are physically much smaller devices. A pen drive is very small device. Memory card is very small in size. So these are all small in size. Okay. So very robust, portable with high data capacity. So use very little power. So because, why? Because these are rewritable. Why? Because flash memory is used inside the USB flash drive devices like pen drive and memory card. So this is memory card. Okay, so what is memory card? Memory card is a small device that can store the data permanently. So which are used in digital cameras, mobiles, etc. Am I right? Yes. So this is expandable memory device. Am I right? Like external hard disk. As nowadays, external hard disks are available to store the data, that is expandable to hard disk. So easily portable, smaller and requires less power. So these are all different types of memories. So can you tell me the memory hierarchy, students? So which is the smallest memory? Which is the smallest memory? What is cache memory? Portability means easy to carry and very compact. Okay, portability, smaller. or easy to carry. That means we can easily move the memory card or pen drive from one location to another location. But hard disk is not portable, because that is placed inside the CPU, am I right? That is not portable. But external hard disk is a portable. Memory card is a portable. Next, pen drive is portable. CD is portable. DVD is portable. Okay? Which is the smallest one? Which is the smallest one? Register. What is register? Register is a smallest memory device. And next one, cache memory. Next one, primary memory devices. Okay, what are the different types of RAM are available? So how many types of RAM are available? So what is register? See, how many types of RAM are available, students? How many types of RAM? SRAM and DRAM. DRAM stands for two types. What are they? SRAM, DRAM. Am I right? SRAM stands for? SRAM stands for? SRAM, static random access memory. DRAM stands for? Very good, dynamic random access memory. Very good. Okay, what is mainframe computer? What is the use of mainframe computer? So what is the difference between single user and multi-user? Very good, static RAM and dynamic RAM. How many types of ROM are available? How many types of ROM are available? How many types of ROM are available? So can you tell me the ROM types? Yes, SRAM is faster than DRAM. Very good, ma. How many types of ROM? Come on, respond. ROM types. Can you tell me the types of ROM? There are 3 types of ROM are available. So what are they? Cache memory is the fastest memory which is similar to RAM. That means cache memory. See, we have 2 types of cache memories. First one is memory cache and browser cache. See, when you open the browser, simply just type what is. Then automatically the related keywords are automatically opened. The drop down. Am I right? So that is browser cache. That means the cache memory stores the frequently used data. Frequently used data and instructions. So for faster access, so microprocessor uses cache memory when the particular required data is available on cache than regular RAM. Very good. 3 types of ROM: PROM, EPROM and EEPROM. So EPROM stands for erasable, programmable, read-only memory. So what about PROM? Programmable, read-only memory. What about EEPROM? So someone asked about what will be the difference between Android and iOS. See, Android OS is available for many types of mobiles, like many types of companies, but iOS is only used for iPhone. Only it is specially designed for iPhones, that is Apple's products. See, when coming to laptops or Apple laptops, sorry, Apple systems, Mac OS is used. Mac OS, Macintosh OS. That means that operating system is specially designed for Apple's products. When coming to the mobile iPhone, so one special operating system is specially designed for iPhone, which is called as iOS, iPhone operating system. Okay, whereas Android is available for Redmi, okay, OnePlus, am I right? So many types of mobiles are there, okay, Samsung. So most of the mobiles uses Android operating system, which is very easy, but iOS provides more security than Android. iOS provides more security than Android. Electrically erasable, programmable, read-only memory. So these are the different types of memories: registers, cache memory, and RAM and ROM. next hard disk, and the remaining secondary storage devices. So that is the memory hierarchy. Okay students, thank you everyone. We will continue tomorrow.